presented by Team SMI. Also brought to you by State Farm Agent Amy Brown, Edward Jones of Carrollton, Douglasville, and Villarica, Osier Apparel, Southland Insurance, West Georgia Plumbing, Septic, and HVAC, and West Georgia Technology. Now, let's go live on the air and on the Craddock Sports Facebook page to the Mustard Seed Cafe at City Station with your host, Matt Skinner.
And good evening, everyone. Hope you all are doing well here at the Mustard Seed Cafe and City Station. We appreciate all our fine sponsors making it happen. Alongside myself tonight is Coach Kenny Walker. How are you doing tonight?
Doing fantastic tonight. It's good to be here.
Yeah, it's good. We try to get some of our football guys to come on each and every week. Clay will join us here in about 30 minutes. We got a fun night. We got Coach John Cooper, offensive coordinator from Carrollton High School, going to be on with us. And then we have Dustin Landry, the defensive coordinator for the West Georgia Wolves, that is going to sit down with us here in just a little while as well. So first off, I want to kind of recap what happened last week in our high school football area. Temple, another impressive victory, this time over Kendrick 35-0. Carrollton defeated Riverdale 48-34. Mount Zion over Coosa 22-21. Bowden 24-7 to Monticello's name. Haralson County 59. We'll go a little more detail in that ball game over Armurchie 0. Mundy's Mill stole one from the Central Lions last week. We'll talk a little more about that game as well. 27-19, and Hateville Charter smashed Heard County 61-7. Coach Walker, out of all those scores, I know you were at the Haralson County game. You cover Haralson County on a daily basis. But what out of those games was the most impressive and kind of shocked you the most last week?
Shocking. I'm not sure if any of those were shocking results, but Haralson County was very impressive, putting up that amount of points and getting all their special teams going last week. They scored 3 of those touchdowns, one on an 87-yard punt return, one on a block punt recovery in the end zone, and a third partially blocked punt that was returned for a touchdown also. That was something that Coach Scott Peavy had been emphasizing, was improving their kicking game, and I would say they were able to do that last Friday.
Yeah, I've been pretty impressed with Haralson County so far, 2-0, and now they're getting ready to start region play against a pretty good Adairsville team here next week.
Yeah, the easy part of the season is past now. They're into that region schedule, the last eight in a row. They've had 2 open weeks early in the year, and I really think that they're going to do well in that region schedule. Last year they were kind of Traylon Shepherd dependent, and this year they got a little more versatility. They got a 3-headed monster running the football for them. And I think they're going to get the same kind of production they got with Traylon last year. Speaking
of 8-game regions, you also got Carrollton and Villarica, who are in that same situation. Carrollton and Villarica start region play. Well, Carrollton and Villarica obviously play each other this week to start their region gauntlet. Carrollton last week defeated Riverdale 48-34. Kind of a sloppy evening, though, for the Trojans, really. They threw 2 pick sixes. And they gave up a fumble as well, but the Trojan defense was able to also get 2 pick sixes, basically, and also get a fumble recovery. And it was a struggle for the offense, but maybe that was a little bit of a wake-up call, and we'll talk to Coach Cooper about them tonight a little bit.
Yeah, right. We've talked about Carrollton and their defense this early part of the year and how impressive they've been. And but you talking about a 48-point effort, and then still making a lot of mistakes offensively. Yeah, that's still pretty impressive. And we've all heard about how much Riverdale has improved over last year. So I still think that was a pretty good win for the Trojans.
Moving on, Mount Zion, a big win on the road against Coosa, scoring the last couple of last minute of the ball game, I believe is what it was. Dakota Browning with a huge effort on both the offensive and defensive side of the football. This week, a little bit different scenario, a better Temple team coming to town, but a lot of talent on Mount Zion's team is out with injuries, and they just seem to can't fight the injury bug or the sick bug.
Yeah, going back to that Coosa game last week, Browning stepped up his junior year, playing fullback and linebacker this year, had 90-plus yards rushing, had 3 interceptions on the defensive side. But the final drive, they were down 21-14 14, I believe. And they drove it down and scored with under a minute left, about 57 seconds. J.D. Heinzman was able to punch it in. And instead of going for the tie, their kicker had missed an extra point earlier in the night. Brad Gordon felt like they had the momentum and decided to go for two and put the game away right there and not fool around with overtime. And J.D. Heinzman was able to put that 2-point conversion in there. So that was a big risk, but it sure paid off for the Eagles.
And they're facing a team this week, Temple, that completely handled Kendrick last week. And Temple, a very solid football team with Philip Johnson at the helm, running the football over 500 yards, the second in the state in rushing after 2 games. What do you expect out of this matchup, and what did you see last week in that Temple game?
Well, what a start for the Temple Tigers, and getting that running game going, getting Johnson going, getting Scooter Tanner back at the quarterback position. I think that county matchup between 2 Carroll County rivals is going to be just a dogfight tomorrow night. Seth Kane and I will be there calling that for you. But I think this is going to be quite an even matchup. If Mount Zion can take care of the injury problems that they're dealing with, they did lose their offensive tackle linebacker, Garrett Gordon, with a fractured arm. So we're not sure how long that's going to keep him out of action, but that's going to be a tough guy to replace on both sides of the ball.
Anytime you replace your middle linebacker on the offensive and the offensive tackle on the offensive side, middle linebacker on the defensive side, that is a tough loss, and we'll hope to get him back healthy soon. A great kid, too, more importantly. Bowden, they continue to roll over Monticello, and North Cobb Christian is actually playing Monticello this week, so Coach Finley's going to get up and go watch them play this week, and that will be a good measuring stick for Bowden, who has 2 weeks off now to prepare for their region schedule.
Yeah, I'm not sure Coach Finley's too thrilled about having 2 weeks off after a 3-0 start, and all the momentum that they built this early part of the year, it can kind of hurt you to have off time. But hopefully it'll get Bowden's guys healthy and get them 100% ready to roll for their region schedule. But they're off to some kind of start. I was reading today where they were the most improved team from a year ago to this year after the first 3 ball games, which, having watched them play, I'm sure in agreement with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then last but 2 more games from last week. Mundy's Mill defeated Central last week. In that game, Coach, it was wild. Raheem Gaines was the storyline. He had over 212 yards rushing from his quarterback position. He was able to make plays on the offensive side of the ball, but what really hurt Central, in my opinion, Mundy's Mill was a 6A school. They didn't have a lot of kids going both ways. Yeah. Central's got a lot of experience, a lot of senior kids on their team. They also had some injuries, and you could tell that they got pretty tired in that ball game because they were having 2 or 3 offensive linemen playing on the defensive line. Their skilled guys were playing in the secondary and at linebacker. So when that stuff happens, especially against a 6A school, you're already kind of put behind the 8 ball, and the athleticism of Mundy's Mill just proved to be too much for Central down the stretch.
Yeah, when you're looking at smaller classification schools playing up in classification, depth seems to be an issue a lot of the time. When you lose guys, like Mount Zion's going to deal with that this week, but Central's been dealing with it too. Not having the guys ready to step in and take the place of the starters, and a lot of starters playing on offense and defense. That just makes it for a tough night on those guys. I know they play hard and they play with a lot of heart, and but just sometimes depth will wear you down at the end of the game. You see it at the college level. You play an SEC school, depth is never an issue. For some of these other smaller schools that play them, the same can be applied to the high school level too.
And talking about the depth part with Central, they had, of course, Isaiah Terry didn't play. Ross Helton was in and out. Who else? Shane Bruce, the Coastal Carolina commit. He played only about 20% of the plays. So when you're taking these big college guys out against an athletic team, that kind of takes away a little bit from
and
the
you're
team.
Talking about some of the best players in this area.
Yeah.
Shane Bruce is a very good player for Central, and so is Ross Helton. Those are some of the best players around here. And if they're getting limited playing time, that's really hurting Central's chances of getting a victory.
And then if you didn't think Heard County's schedule could get any harder, well, think again, because now you get to play Rockmart this week after getting beat last week by Hateville Charter. 61-7 on that front. Now you get to play the team that you beat in the state championship last year, but unlike Heard County, they're pretty much bringing everybody back from that team that contributed. Juke Boozer, Javen Watley, the Smith brothers, they're all back for Rockmart, and they're ready to try to take care of business in Staples Stadium.
Well, there's no question that Rockmart has not forgotten what happened in December at Mercedes-Benz Stadium last year. And Heard County, they're going to give it a good fight, and they're going to stand up and fight Rockmart all the way. But there might be outmanned this year. Rockmart's loaded for bear, and Heard County's, I wouldn't call it rebuilding, but kind of reloading a little bit.
Yeah.
But, you look at Heard County's start last year, they were in a similar situation. They got off to a slow start, played these powerhouse teams early, but they got rolling mid-season when they got in their region, and when the playoffs started, they had things figured out.
Yeah.
So don't count Tim Barron's team out yet, because that can, these games early in the year, these non-region games are just warm-ups.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're talking about when you get into region play, things can change, and they get in the right bracket, get the right seed, and look out.
That's exactly what happened last year. Dontavius Russell joining us in and saying I deserve to be on ESPN. I don't know about that, but he's actually starting down with the Jacksonville Jaguars, getting his career going. So proud of you, Dontavius, and it's good to always talk to you. But continuing with Heard County, they same thing last year, like you said. They were able to beat LaGrange last year, but the loss to Hateville Charter and the Rockmart kind of woke them up and got them prepared to not kind of go through the motions. Really and truly, this game, like all non-region games, I would think, you tend to try to work on yourself a little more and get yourself ready for region play.
Yeah, that should be the focus for Coach Barron and his group, is to get ready for region play, because that's really all that counts when it comes down to it. A win against Rockmart would be amazing, be a spectacular win for their program. But it's not going to be the end all for their season. They'll still have plenty to look forward to.
Yeah, so there's some big games this week around our area. We'll talk about those here. Right, I'll go ahead and do that real quick. Carrollton taking on Villa Rica. Villa Rica had a week off after losing to Martin Luther King. ML King, they only had, Villa Rica only had 22 yards of offense after their first 2 touchdowns. So they're going to try to they need to try to find the way to get the ball to Philip Zachary somehow, some way, and Tristan Allen's going to have a good game to try to break down the Trojan defense.
Well, it looked like Villa Rica's early season schedule was tougher than anticipated, because we looked at how Bowden had improved from last year. MLK was in that category too, as one of the most improved teams from last year to this year. So it was a big test for the Villa Rica football team, but it's nothing compared to what comes up with the Carrollton Trojans this week.
Yeah.
You got a local rivalry, for one, and you also got a huge region game right out of the gate, and it's a big game for both sides. And Carrollton's obviously the favorite, and
Maxwell ratings got him at 21.
Got him at 21. When you're talking about a rivalry game like that, you can throw out those kind of predictions, because they'll narrow the gap a little bit.
Yeah.
And Villa Rica will be ready to play. They had that open week, and they had a chance to correct a lot of things, heal up some injuries, and they'll be ready when the Trojans come to town tomorrow night.
It can always be dangerous, and as a coach, you might know this too. It's always dangerous to have a week off. You come out and play a team that's better than you are and exert all your energy in the first drive or the first 2 drives of the game. It's a 4-quarter battle. You can't come out there and just throw everything out in the first quarter.
Yeah, we saw Bremen and Bowden. That was a good comparison, because that was a lot of energy expended early in that football game. But Bowden settled in quicker than Bremen did and was able to pull that game out. So if Villa Rica is going to be in that same situation, they don't need to shoot all their bullets, so to speak, in the first quarter of that game. They're going to have to stay in there for the long haul.
You brought up you brought up Bremen. We'll talk about Cedartown and Bremen now. Bremen, they've had a rough start, losing to Rabun County. Obviously, Rabun County might be one of the last 4 teams left in Double-A with that quarterback they got up there. But then you lose to a Bowden team, and now you get a chance to come back and regroup. You lose Brooks Hardy possibly for the season with that knee injury. You're playing against a Cedartown team that's hungry despite losing their quarterback too. They're also 0-2. So it's going to be a fun matchup of at Reading Field and Bremen on Friday.
Yeah, Bremen with an off week last week is getting a chance to kind of find their offensive identity, I think. they were trying to do some things differently this year, and then it looked like they were trying to revert back to how they did things last year. And I think they'll come in and when they play Cedartown tomorrow night and settle into a system that's going to pay off for them. They might be moving some guys around. They might be changing up their looks. Cedartown probably get something different than what they've seen on film out of the first 2 ball games. You can't really diminish the fact that Bremen lost so many seniors last year.
Right.
And it takes time to refill those positions. It's not going to happen instantly.
Right.
That's not an overnight process. That's something that they have to get that experience, and some of them are learning new positions, and that takes a little time. Yeah. So that's what Bremen's going through right now.
Before we get to mention our fine sponsors one more time and get Coach Cooper on with us, you got a wild card game on there. Talk to us a little about the wild card game you got put on there. Oh, yeah.
Okay, the one at the bottom there?
Yeah.
All right.
That's a wild card game.
Yeah, this is in that Carrollton-Villa-Rica region. There's a huge opening matchup between 2 teams from that region, Rome versus Cale.
They've actually opened up, I think, all 4 years now of the region, which is kind of bad luck.
that's 2 of the heavyweights in that region, too, and teams that we expect to be in the playoffs when it's all said and done.
It's always a wild game. There's always a lot of turnovers, and I think it's 2-1 Rome leads the series, I believe.
So Cale will be looking to even that up. Yeah. And Rome's been really good these last few years, and I think Cale may be ranked a little bit higher than they are this year. And it'll be interesting. I think they're playing at Barron Stadium, so that might be a factor that's got Rome favored by 12 in that game. It just seems like an awful wide margin.
Well, those rankings you can't – those ratings Maxwell does or whatever, you can't really pay attention to.
Yeah, I think it's more computer rankings than anything. And what does a computer know?
We'll take 3.5 right here on our Graddick Sports radio network, KISS 102.7, and on our Graddick Sports Facebook page.
City Station, a multi-purpose community center behind CVS on Maple
Coach
Street
Cooper,
in Carrollton,
you ready?
was conceived by Southern Hills Christian Church with a goal of serving Carroll County.
I'm great.
City Station offers preschool services, college student housing, the Mustard Seed Cafe, an indoor playground, fitness center, and basketball court, as well as state-of-the-art conference rooms available for your next event. You matter, and City Station exists to serve you. Come check out City Station in person or find us online at citystation.org and Facebook.
Listen, then speak. That's how your Edward Jones financial advisor
Coach,
gets
Ken
to know
Walker,
you,
nice to meet
your
you.
personal situation, and your individual goals. Smart answers come from listening to your questions. Let your Edward Jones financial advisor show you the difference. For an Edward Jones financial advisor near you, call 1-800-ED-JONES, visit edwardjones.com, or stop by any Edward Jones office in Carrollton, Villa-Rica, or Douglasville. Listen, then speak. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Edward Jones.
Can you hear Coach Cooper okay?
My boy Melvin on play.
SIPC.
He is actually on a visit this week.
Really?
He had a bunch of stuff scheduled before, which we
It's
knew.
not just your car.
You know,
it's the
and we're
car
not
you
going.
worked overtime so your team could drive himself.
He's a very
to
good
football
basketball player,
practice.
and those are set up. So I'm just thrilled that he's out there. To be honest with you,
I wish he had about 3 more inches on because he could really play.
We're here to give them the protection
He's a 6'5" power forward.
Yes. At 678-840-5000.
If he had about 3 or 4 more
Playing
inches
wide or
on,
he
he
could
could
South
tight?
Candler Street in Villa-Rica.
He's an outside receiver for
at
us.
amybrown.biz. We're here
I know
to
y'all got
help
the fade
life
route in.
go right.
Oh yeah, yes sir. We
makes it easy for you to outfit your
I will be
employees
honest,
in
we've
company
done a
attire.
lot more of those in the last
Your staff will work with you to
month
set
than
up
we
a
have in our
company
first
store
4
online
years.
with your logos, approved garment brands, colors, and styles. Once the store is up and running, employees visit the store and order direct within your allotted budget, or can order additional garments on their own within your preset acceptable parameters. You've got enough to do. Alleviate the hassle of outfitting your employees. To find out more or to set up your company store, visit OsherApparel.com or stop by their office on Avenue C in Carrollton.
At West Georgia Plumbing, Septic, and HVAC, a family-owned and operated company, we understand the importance of keeping your family comfortable and home functioning properly.
We are available 24/6 for any and all repairs and installations. We honor all military, first responders, teachers, and senior citizens with a 10% discount.
Give us a call at 678-708-8883.
And check us out online at westgeorgiahvac.com and westgeorgiaplumbingandseptic.com.
To God be the glory.
In America, someone's cell phone screen cracks every second.
I'd hate to be that guy.
Face it, someday you'll be that guy. When that day comes, don't send your phone off to be repaired. It takes weeks and costs a fortune. From busted screens to battery replacement, West Georgia Technology repairs phones and computers fast for a price that will make you smile.
Ah, shoot. So who do I call again?
West Georgia Technology, 678-664-0486, 928 South Park Street in Carrollton.
Whether it's a car
30 seconds.
storm damage or a fire, when the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you saved money in 15 minutes. In this moment, it doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is that your independent insurance agent and the company that stands behind them have you covered. Auto Owners Insurance, the no-problem people. Visit Susan, Gary, and the rest of the crew at Southland Insurance on Corporate Drive in Carrollton or online at southlandinsagency.com.
And welcome back into the Mustard Seed Cafe. It's the Team SMI starting lineup here at City Station on Kids 102.7 and our Gradic Sports Facebook page. We're joined now by John Cooper, the offensive coordinator at Carrollton High School. Off to a 2-0 start, put up 33 against East Coweta, 48, even though the defense gave you a little help last week. But,
yes, sir, they did.
They're looking for a big region win to start off this week against Villa Rica. But tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got started with football, and what brings you to Carrollton after, 4 years now here in Carrollton? So.
Yes. Well, first of all, thank y'all for having me on. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm from South Georgia. Played football for Coach Bobby McAllister at Worth County. Went to Valdosta State. Wasn't fast enough, so I didn't play there. But I always wanted to be around it. So, you can't play, so you coach. So, bounced around a little bit. Got hired on with Coach Probst at Colquitt. And my knowledge of the game, and I grew as a coach. And very fortunate to be around some guys, one of them being Coach Calhoun, and I learned some good ball from them. And he got the job up here, and as soon as he called, I was at the BP, and I said, yes, sir, come on. So I'm down. So,
what is the biggest change from Colquitt to up here in Carrollton that you've seen, if any? Because I know they're both football towns. And
absolutely.
Really, Colquitt's really only one football team. Here in Carrollton, we got multiple. But
oh yeah, really lucked out with the color scheme. Black and gold, or old gold, and the same thing here. Just very similar. Football town, love football. People are passionate about it. They care. If I don't do my job, it's people let me know about it, which is what I like. Expectations are high. They take care of us and our families, and very similar.
And take care by building and putting up a brand new indoor facility. I'm sure it's been nice to be in there instead of the 96-degree heat. High of 96 today. So
yes, sir.
To be in there.
That is another similar thing. The last couple of days have definitely been South Georgia-like, or week really. But that all the people that pitched in and allow us to build that facility, it's over the top, man. It's hard as even in practice not to look around and be like, I'm in an indoor facility and I'm not at a college campus. So we're more than happy to get in there and be able to use such a facility like that.
Yeah. Well, Coach, let's jump into the football side of things and tell us about your offense, who your key players are, and what y'all are trying to do.
Yes, sir. Obviously, offensively, we're going to try to score every time we touch it. We spread it out. We're in shotgun most of the time, but we do run the ball. I would say, as offensive coordinator, we need to get in there in the end zone any way we can. But we've got numerous weapons. We got a great running back group. If I start naming kids, I'm sure I'll leave one off, so I'm not going to do that. I am learning about that. Miles Morris, our quarterback, we're led by him. The good Lord has hooked that young man up, so to speak. He's a very, very talented young man, and he obviously is the trigger man for us. Back in the backfield, we got a three-headed monster, Cody Brewer, Brandon Marenko, and Mikos Todd. And out wide, my guys, I think both games, correct me, I think 6 of us have caught a ball. So, all those dudes, Miles does a good job of doing what he's coached to do and spreading the ball around. So we tell them, if one dude's carrying the load, that's not us. We want to attack what the defense is giving us. And albeit if it's 1 or 2 guys, we'll go with it. But if it's more than that, we definitely want to take advantage of that.
So for a lot of these kids, this is the fourth year of y'all, so the fourth year being into this system. How difficult was it starting out to try to get these kids to understand, hey, this ain't the wing tee no more, and getting your system in place?
It was, I don't like to use the word easier in coaching. I'm learning there's challenging and less challenging, but the challenges that come along with that, going from that type of offense to spreading it around. Up front is different. When pass protection, blocking, schemes, and terminology. It was a challenge, but our staff, Coach Calhoun, and we all gelled, and we love football. And like I said, they give us everything we need here in Carrollton. So we hit the ground running. I would be amiss if I didn't mention offensive line. I kind of didn't mention them. As a skill coach out wide, we draw up all that stuff. But if the game's on up front, and if they don't do their job, it's going to be a long night.
Well, when we're talking about line play, when you go to the spread system, that's more of a zone blocking situation. I wanted to ask you about balance, run and pass balance. Because I was talking to Matt earlier about the trend in high school football now is more balls in the air, and
yes, sir.
And less power running game. We still see teams around here that their focus is the power running game. What is the balance like as far as run pass for y'all?
Not a cliche here, but we really do. We try to stay as balanced as you said as we can. We Huddle makes it so less challenging nowadays, and we get all the data in there, and we try to stay as much as we can balanced. Winning state championships, sooner or later you're going to have to run the football, and obviously you're going to have to stop the run. As much as I can sit here, I love to throw it myself, but game 15.
Well, you're a wide receiver.
Absolutely,
at heart, so.
Absolutely. But you've got to be able to run the ball, and obviously on the flip side of that, you got to be able to stop the ball if you want to play deep in December.
And talk about your receivers a little bit, because you lost your leading receiver, Isaiah Lancaster. He was a big guy for you in the last 2 years. Who are some younger guys? I know you got to name them all, but it feels like who are some guys that really stepped up from last year to this year that you've seen?
Yes, sir. We right there at the end of the year last year, believe it or not, those last two playoff games, we started, I know offensively, 3 to 4, maybe 5 freshmen. It kind of showed up in that last ball game, but 2 of those were freshman receivers. Terrell Carmichael, Ace. They've taken on a kind of leadership deal. Austin Waldrop, he's stepping up for his big, obviously East Coweta. So he made some plays there. Steven Slappy, I think he played from the jump last year, and he was a sophomore, a true sophomore. And they're growing up, they're making plays. It's a little bit different coming from that lower level and then jumping right there on Friday nights. In our region against Rome, against Kell, Villarica this Friday. You got to be ready to go.
Go ahead, Coach.
Okay, I was going to ask you about your quarterback, Miles Morris. We're in the era of the dual threat quarterback. And I see him as one of those type of players.
Yes, sir. He, you use the term dual threat. Miles is a quarterback. He can run, obviously, and we do design some things for him, and he's got a great arm. But I mean, he is a big time quarterback. He walks it, he talks it. I mean, he's obviously talented on the field, but off the field, I mean, he's just a quarterback. We like to run a quarterback. I know our first couple of years, Mark Wright, we found out. He was a heck of a runner.
Bub could run.
Yes, he could. We were talking about that the other day, actually, putting some stuff in. But Miles is a great quarterback all around. When he needs to make a play with his legs, he does, and obviously he's the good Lord spent a little more time on his right arm than I know me for sure. So.
How awesome is it that every day you get to play against the defense in practice that might be the best that you see? Because, I mean, we talked to Coach Simmons 2 weeks ago, and obviously had some great things to say about the offense, but that defense is really special. And I know as an offensive coach, you make it scratch your head and spring ball probably going up against them, but you also have to know that that's the best they're probably going to see until a certain time.
Absolutely. Coach Simmons and all our defensive coaches, they do a heck of a job. And I wouldn't use the word fired up about it, but spring and summer when we're going against those guys, I'm like, come on, Coach Kyle, let's put the twos in. But they make us better, and I know especially up front blocking those talented that talents in front we have. It doesn't help. I mean, it just does anything but make us better. I mean, blocking those guys, it's a chore.
Coach, you got any last stuff for Coach Cooper?
Well, Coach, I know it goes against what coaches believe, but looking ahead down the road, do you see any teams that pose a big challenge to you, or are you just not focused on anything but the Villa Rica Wildcats this week?
Yes, sir. I'll be honest with you. We tell our kids, one of our mottos, not just offensively, but as a program as a whole, we need to just win, one game every Friday night. That sounds kind of dull or
go
corny,
1-0.
but that's it. Yeah. If we can focus on what's ahead of us, which is Villa Rica, big ball game, that gives us a chance. You want to win a state championship. How we do that is win a region championship. Well, we can't win a region championship unless we got to win that opener, and that just happens to be against Villa Rica. So.
And it's kind of unusual to see a county rivalry in your first region game too.
Yes, sir. It's I've been here 4 years, and I wasn't here 4 minutes, and I've learned that, the people were talking about it. Yes, sir, it does. But
they were excited about Villa Rica being on the schedule.
Yes, yes. And that's good for our kids to be in those environments. I enjoy that, and I enjoy that for them too.
Awesome. Well, Coach Cooper, best of luck tomorrow. Game will be on B92 Country with Mitch Gray and Verlin Best and Chris Collins right at 7:30, and we'll be up at the MAC, so I'll get to watch a little bit of that game. So looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on, and go Trojans.
All right. We'll see you later, Coach. And the Team SMI starting lineup is presented by SMI, Amy Brown State Farm, Edward Jones of Carrollton, Douglasville, and Villa Rica, Osier Apparel, Southland Insurance, West Georgia Plumbing and Septic, and West Georgia Technology Repair. Coach Walker, you want to say anything before you head out as well?
No, I'm just glad to be here, Matt. Thanks for inviting me to be here, and looking forward to a big night of Friday night football, like always, in the West Georgia area tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Coming up next, the West Georgia defensive coordinator Dustin Landry will sit down with us, and Clay Harden will join me right here on the Team SMI starting lineup.
The Mustard Seed Cafe at City Station offers affordable, globally inspired cuisine, breakfast, lunch, and dinner in a pleasant atmosphere. More importantly, your meal is part of a bigger story. A portion of every meal sold goes to help those in need around the globe. Your meal matters, and when you eat at the Mustard Seed, your meal makes a difference. Bring the family down to City Station and break bread with us. Find us online or on Facebook. Mention GRADIC20 for 20% off one entree through the end of August.
Join the 7 million investors who know the difference. For a proactive approach to your individual financial needs, contact an Edward Jones financial advisor near you. Call 1-800-ED-JONES, visit edwardjones.com, or stop by any Edward Jones office in Carrollton, Villa Rica, or Douglasville. Regardless of what the market is doing, we stay in touch. Even when the market's down, we'll call you up. Proactive, not reactive. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Edward Jones in Carrollton, Villa Rica, and Douglasville. Member SIPC.
It's not just your home or your car. It's the hours you spend in your kitchen mastering your legendary wing recipe and packing the family in the car as you head to the high school tailgate. While other companies just call it bundling, at State Farm, we see your home and your auto as the time and memories you make with them. This is State Farm agent Amy Brown. I understand what your family, home, and auto really means to you. Come see me, State Farm agent Amy Brown, on South Candler Street in Villa Rica to make sure you're getting the insurance protection that you deserve.
Did you know that Osier Apparel offers all-inclusive fundraising web stores? Donors order direct from the store, freeing you from handling money, getting product to donors, keeping track of ordering, accounting, or delivery. Osier will work with you to set up your store. They'll even help with your design. From tote bags to t-shirts, headwear to outerwear, an Osier fundraising website puts the fun back into fundraising. To find out more or to set up your store, visit osierapparel.com or stop by their office on Avenue C in Carrollton.
At West Georgia Plumbing, Septic, and HVAC, a family-owned and operated company, we understand the importance of keeping your family comfortable and home functioning properly.
We are available 24/6 for any and all repairs and installations. We honor all military, first responders, teachers, and senior citizens with a 10% discount.
Give us a call at 678-708-8883.
And check us out online at westgeorgiahvac.com and westgeorgiaplumbingandseptic.com.
To God be the glory.
In America, someone's cell phone screen cracks every second.
I'd hate to be that guy.
Face it, someday you'll be that guy. When that day comes, don't send your phone off to be repaired. It takes weeks and costs a fortune. From busted screens to battery replacement, West Georgia Technology repairs phones and computers fast for a price that will make you smile.
Ah, shoot. So who do I call again?
West Georgia Technology, 678-664-0486, 928 South Park Street in Carrollton.
Whether it's a car accident,
30 seconds.
damage, or a fire, when the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you saved money in 15 minutes. In this moment, it doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is that your independent insurance agent and the company that stands behind them have you covered. Auto Owners Insurance, the no-problem people. Visit Susan, Gary, and the rest of the crew at Southland Insurance on Corporate Drive in Carrollton or online at southlandinsagency.com.
And welcome back into the Team SMI starting lineup presented by SMI. Joining me now is Clay Harden. Good to have him back on the show this week. And special guest tonight for our West Georgia Wolves. They went 1-0 last week against Catawba. A nice win on the road. Well, we've got the defensive coordinator, Coach Dustin Landry, with us. How are you doing, Coach?
Doing great. Appreciate you guys having me.
We appreciate you being on with us. Talk about the win last week. A good way to start off the year against the Catawba team.
Definitely. Went down there to Catawba, on the road. 1-0 for the week. Good trip. Stayed in a nice hotel. It was good to get away from Carrollton for a day or so. Traveled well, got out there. Guys played well. We limited their offense to, I think, around 240 on the day. Made some big critical stops and had a couple takeaways. And only negative thing is we let 2 get behind us on some vertical balls. But all in all, it was a good day, good team win, and goal this week is go 1-0 this week.
Yeah, a lot of people overlook how good the defense last year was under you. I got some stats right here. I didn't know this until I read them today. Led the Gulf South Conference last year in total defense. 20.9 points per game, 309.3 yards per game, and only gave up something like 150 average a game in the air. Is the game gone to where the passing, like you got to set up for the passing game and worry about the running game as it happens? Is that where we're at now in the game of football?
Well, I wouldn't say that. I would say it is, you try to limit some things and you try to take away what an offense does best. And we've got, the Gulf South Conference is a very versatile league.
Yes.
And not everybody wants to air it out. Not everybody wants to put it on the ground. You play the Mississippi colleges of the world and you play the Valdosta States, and it's 2 sides of the spectrum. So I think you try to put a game plan together and you try to execute the best way possible. And what we do defensively, we play a lot of man coverage. So it takes the air out of the receivers and it challenges those guys from a snap-to-snap basis. And it does put some pressure in our run fits on what we try to do and what we try to execute. But some teams want to air it out, some teams want to run it down your throat, and this league is a testament to that they've got some really good coaches that try to pick you apart from a defensive standpoint. And we had a good year last year, and that's contributed to our players. We had good players that bought in and did what they needed to do from the detail standpoint. And first year in the system, executing, very pleased with it. But we need to take it a step further this year. We finished in the league in most of all categories first, but rush defense, that's not a goal to finish where we finished, and third down defense, that's not a goal. And those 2 things we kind of lacked towards the end of the year. We gave up over 40 points and over 400 yards of offense in the last 2 ball games. So, we look at last year's, we're on a 0-2 streak. It was huge for us to get this first W, to get back to that 1-0 deal.
I had a thought train here. I can't remember where it went. Oh, do you ever look at a team and look at their strength and say, I'm going to stop you on your strength and make you beat us in the other area of the game? Do you ever look at it that way?
Definitely. When you're putting a game plan together, you try to take away what they do best, and then you go from there from a situational standpoint. And just like Catawba, we knew that they were going to want to come in and run the football a little bit and really weren't going to be able to challenge us on the edge at wide out and some things. Right. So, we limited what they were doing, and you always want to try to take away what somebody does best, whether it's a specific person or a specific play or a specific concept that they're trying to do.
Talk a little bit about yourself. How long you've been a coach, and I know that you coached with Gene Chizik for a little bit and got a nice little ring on your finger from that as well, but talk to us a little bit about that.
Got into the profession back in 2007 as a young green student assistant, volunteer, free at Auburn. Spent a season there under Coach Muschamp and Coach Tuberville, just kind of get my feet wet, really kind of found out if I really wanted to do it, because all I was doing was making coffee and running errands and doing things of that nature.
That's two coaches, pretty good coaches, though.
Yeah, so it was good to get started under them, and then had the opportunity to go up to Iowa State in 2008 as a defensive backs graduate assistant with Coach Chizik. So that's whenever our paths crossed, and then from there I went to Auburn for 3 years with Coach Chizik, 2009 to 2011, where we had a pretty special player in Cam Newton and another one in Nick Fairley on the defense side of the ball. So we had a successful year. That carried me on over. Left Auburn in 2012, kind of hit a couple of different spots, and then back here, West Georgia.
Awesome.
And I spent another about 6 months before the 2015 season with Coach Chizik at North Carolina in a support role before I took a coordinator job in a Mississippi Junior College level. So since 07. So I used to look back and be like, man, I'm 4 or 5 years in. Now it's a decade in plus, So
that's a grind, though, jumping around.
This is my second season for the first time since I was a defensive backs coach at Troy in 2013, 2014.
Gotcha.
I haven't been another place since 2014, 2 seasons in a row. So it's a blessing.
Feel like you're always on the move, huh?
No doubt. No doubt.
How fortunate do you feel to work under somebody like Chizik and like you mentioned Coach Muschamp and
Tommy Tuberville.
Every coach you work under, even coaches at the junior college level I've been with, as coaches we steal everything, meaning we steal things that we do, process that we do, details that we do, how we implement, what we want to do defensively, how we want to push the players. You pick and choose from every guy. You very rarely invent something. So I've been blessed to be around the coaches that I've been, just to kind of sit back. The Ted Roos of the world. I was with him for 3 years. Been with some great D-line coaches and Tracy Rocker and Mike Pelton and some of those guys. So, and even in the offensive side of the ball with Gus Malzahn and those guys. And I was with Larry Fedora for 6 months. It's been a blessing. I've been in some places that I get to see guys at a high level do it and excel in doing what they do.
Now this year's team, they're saying is way better than last year, or maybe better than last year's team. And 2 of those guys, Corey Rogers in your linebacking core, then you got Chad Price on the defensive end. Everybody knows about those 2 guys. I want you to talk about them, but who are some guys that we can look out for that are going to be making plays for you this year?
Definitely. We've got Corey returning. We've got Chad Price. And those guys have done a good job. And we've got Chris Blackson in the secondary at safety, who started, I think, 11 games for us last year.
He plays angry, too.
He does. He plays angry, and he's flying to the football. And we had an addition by his name is, I don't want to pronounce it. Yeah. We call him Big Z.
Big Z, yeah.
So,
poor Mitch Gray has to call his name on the radio, and that's he just says Big Z. So.
Right. So you look at Big Z, he's the biggest guy out there on the field, so you're not going to miss him. And we're super excited to get DeAndre Gardenhire back, who was a guy who was very productive 2 years ago for us. Our D-line with TJ Fehoko as well, we've got some guys right now, and their backups too, and we really don't view our D-line as a 1 or a 2 unit because we roll them like hockey wholesale subs.
That's his next question too.
Yeah,
it was.
What's that?
I was going to ask you what's the advantage of rolling a whole new unit in 4 guys, 4 guys on, 4 guys off, rather than 1 at a time?
Keep those guys fresh.
So you don't consider them a 1 and a 2?
We don't. We like to split reps, and the more fresh they are, the more productive they're going to be. We've got a 1-2 deep and even a 5th guy at some positions that we feel confident rolling those guys in. So we're pretty strong defensive line-wise. And, in the secondary, Latrell Gibbs is a name to watch. He had a really, really good spring. He had a great summer. And he's really come on from from a leadership standpoint. And that's another thing with our team in general is the leadership and the guys that are leading offensively, defensively, to doing the right things and handling the little things throughout the week that allow you to go 1-0. Because everybody wants to go 1-0 each week, and everybody talks about it. But I think we got a good core group of guys that implement that and don't just talk about it.
To add on to like switching on the defensive line and stuff, do you kind of play to the down and distance, or do you kind of pick out the formations that they're in to kind of substitute? Because I know a lot of times if it's a passing situation, you know you're going to want to have an extra pass rusher in there instead of a bigger defensive line. Or
we do. We get into some situational football where we get to some 3-down fronts and we get an extra safety on the field. Right. Or if we're in our 4-down front mentality and it's a 3rd down, we may get our 4 best pass rushers on the field. And then, if we go to a goal line or short yardage, we may get 5 D linemen on the field to where we got some beef and stuff like that. So, but as far as rolling them throughout the game, it's really just based off of a 3 to 4 to 5 rep count. And Coach Majit rolls those guys when we can because, with fast-paced offense, we don't want to sub them if the ball's on the other side of the field and it wasn't an incomplete pass. If they're running the football, they're gaining first downs, we got to hold those guys. So we've got a whole sub procedure based off of personnel, based off of situation, and just getting those guys in and out.
Watching the game Saturday, I noticed that y'all appeared to be in better shape than Catawba was. What is the summer conditioning program? What has that done for especially your big guys?
Right. We had 90-plus guys here in July. And the thing at our level, the Division II level, those guys have to be here on their own dime. So you're not forcing them to work. You're not forcing them to work out. You're not forcing them to get in shape. They do it all player-led. And Coach Curtis builds a summer plan for them and implements that and did a great job this summer. And I think our trainer today in our staff meeting said we had 0 guys cramp on Saturday.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So I think that's
and it was hot on Saturday.
It was really hot. Coach Landry was cramping, I can tell you that. But, Coach Curtis does a great job with those guys. Those guys have done a good job of staying hydrated. And, we don't – after practice, Coach Dean wants them off the field, so we're not running them after practice. They're player-led, running their position groups after practice.
Wow.
We've got that type of leadership. So it's a lot of things, and it started with Coach Curtis in the summer and those guys wanting to be here.
Awesome. Well, we look ahead this week to a Limestone team. They're 0-1, but you're not taking them lightly. Lost to a good West Owl team. What are they going to do offensively, and what do you got to do to give your offense some extra possessions on Saturday?
Well, Limestone, I think their offensive staff does a great job as far as attacking what you do defensively, meaning – they build a plan from week to week, and it looks a little bit different every week depending on who they're playing. There's a lot of window dressing in what they want to do to try to confuse you and get you out of what you do best. And that's what they did last year when they came in here. That first drive, they had us rolling. They were getting in some stuff they hadn't shown. Took us a little bit of time to adjust. So, we're anticipating some of that stuff. I think those guys. I think they've got a good quarterback who can make the throws. They've got a preseason all-conference running back who's a returner. They lost their 2 tight ends last year, and they've got 2 freshmen coming in. They returned their whole O-line pretty much. So we've got our challenge, and we'll have to take it to 4 quarters, and we'll once again keep those guys fresh because it is going to be a hot day on Saturday. So I think our depth in the secondary at linebacker, at D-line, we rolled everybody that we took on the trip to Catawba played besides 2 guys defensively. So we're rolling them in and out. We have confidence in their backups. The way that we practice, we want to build and develop depth. We don't just have our ones getting the looks. We roll those guys in every 2 to 3 plays, whether you're a 1, 2, or 3 in some positions.
Awesome. Coach Landry, we appreciate you taking the time to be on with us, and best of luck on Saturday and the rest of the season.
Appreciate it, guys.
The only guy with a beard game strong as mine.
Very strong beard performance.
Appreciate it.
Okay, awesome.
See you Saturday.
Yes, you can catch the Wolves right here on KISS 102.7, and they'll be taking on Limestone in Gaffney, South Carolina, coming up this Saturday. Coach Landry, thank you again. And when we come back, we're going to take a look around the college game a little more, and we'll get Clay's opinion on some of the high school football games coming up tomorrow night right here on the Team SMI starting lineup.
Looking for a fitness experience that isn't your typical big box gym? At City Station Fitness, we understand going to the gym can be intimidating, and we want to change that. City Station Fitness, a proud supporter of the Team SMI starting lineup, makes your fitness experience fun and personal, and we promise to know your name by your second visit. Give us a try, and your first workout will be on us. City Station Fitness, behind CVS on Maple Street. For more information, visit citystationfitness.com and check us out on Facebook.
Listen, then speak. That's how your Edward Jones financial advisor gets to know you, your personal situation, and your individual goals. Smart answers come from listening to your questions. Let your Edward Jones financial advisor show you the difference. For an Edward Jones financial advisor near you, call 1-800-ED-JONES, visit edwardjones.com, or stop by any Edward Jones office in Carrollton, Villa Rica, or Douglasville. Listen, then speak. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Edward Jones, Carrollton, Villa Rica, and Douglasville. Member SIPC.
Every football fan knows that the two-point conversion can make all the difference in a game. That's why State Farm is here to help you go for two by combining your home and auto insurance. This is State Farm agent Amy Brown reminding you that bundling your insurance can save you time and money. It's just another way to put one in your win column. Call me, State Farm agent Amy Brown, at 678-840-5000. Stop by our office on South Candler Street in Villa Rica, or visit online at amybrown.biz. We're here to help life go right.
Osier Apparel makes it easy for you to outfit your employees in company attire. The Osier staff will work with you to set up a company store online with your logos, approved garment brands, colors, and styles. Once the store is up and running, employees visit the store and order direct within your allotted budget, or can order additional garments on their own within your preset acceptable parameters. You've got enough to do. Alleviate the hassle of outfitting your employees. To find out more or to set up your company store, visit osierapparel.com or stop by their office on Avenue C in Carrollton.
At West Georgia Plumbing, Septic, and HVAC, a family-owned and operated company, we understand the importance of keeping your family comfortable and home functioning properly.
We are available 24/6 for any and all repairs and installations. We honor all military, first responders, teachers, and senior citizens with a 10% discount.
Give us a call at 678-708-8883.
And check us out online at westgeorgiahvac.com and westgeorgiaplumbingandseptic.com. To God be the glory.
Well, it's all good.
In America, someone's cell phone screen cracks every second.
I'd hate to be that
1 minute.
Face it, someday you'll be that guy. When that day comes, don't send your phone off to be repaired. It takes weeks and costs a fortune. From busted screens to battery replacement, West Georgia Technology repairs phones and computers fast for a price that will make you smile.
Ah, shoot. So who do I call again?
West Georgia Technology, 678-664-0486, 928 South Park Street in Carrollton.
Whether it's a car
now
accident,
30
storm
seconds.
damage, or a fire, when the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you saved money in 15 minutes. In this moment, it doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is that your independent insurance agent and the company that stands behind them have you covered. Auto Owners Insurance, the no-problem people. Visit Susan, Gary, and the rest of the crew at Southland Insurance on Corporate Drive in Carrollton or online at southlandinsagency.com.
Yes, we are ready for this. Welcome back into the Team SMI starting lineup, presented by SMI, live here at the Mustard Seed Cafe at City Station. A big thank you to everybody making this possible. Once again, David Brock back in the studio and Joel Brock behind the camera. And I promise there's no relationship. I've got that question like 20 times, and I keep telling them.
They do kind of favor, though.
They both have a nice beard, and Joel doesn't have as much hair, but David's got the
Love
flow.
David's hair. I'm going to grow my hair out like David's. I want to be just like him when I grow up.
We got about 7 minutes left in the program, and we'll take that time to get your opinion on some of the football games happening this week. We'll start with the rivalry of Carrollton and Villa Rica on B92 Country.
All Carrollton. I watched Villa Rica play.
Yeah, talk about that game. Villa Rica's had having a week off after that game. They, like you said, they only had 22 yards of offense after their first 2 touchdowns.
They never made any adjustments to what MLK was doing defensively, and the quarterback at MLK just killed them all night. He was reading the ends, and if they crashed, he went outside. If they stayed out, he went up the middle, and they never tried anything to stop it. Never adjusted anything to stop it. So I don't see them having the athletes to match up with Carrollton.
Well, that game will be on B92 Country for your listening pleasure with Verlin, Mitch, and Chris Collins on the sideline. Temple and Mount Zion, that could be a fun, interesting matchup. I think Temple's going to take care of business. Mount Zion has way too many injuries right now.
Yeah, and Temple's got a lot. I mean, they're playing really good football right now. They got a really good running back. The line's has handled business all week, all season long so far. I like Temple in this one.
Yeah, Temple should take care of business. Another team that unfortunately probably going to take care of business, Rock Martin, Heard County.
Yeah, it's nothing against Heard County, but they're not at the level that Rock Mart's at right now. I do see maybe Heard trying some different things. I'd like to see some different kids in different positions, earning a job somewhere. But I'm looking forward to region play in a couple weeks.
And then your ball game on Great Classics 98.9. Bremen back on track, hopefully, against Cedartown. Both teams 0-2.
Yeah, and Cedartown's got some injuries coming in. Some of their key players. They still got that one running back, and I can't remember his name right now.
Pryor, maybe? I know his last name's Kobe
Pryor.
Kobe Pryor, yeah.
Yes, they're going to be good. Both teams 0-2. Somebody's got to win. Somebody's going to get their first win of the season, and I hope it's the Blue Devils.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. Let's take a look. I just got an update. Unfortunately, the Braves now down 3-2. They gave up another home run. But as far as
clinch a playoff spot with a win tonight.
Yes, they do. They at least will get the second wild card spot. That's always a good sign. Arkansas State at Georgia kicking off on ESPN2. Should be a easy ball game for Georgia. Unfortunately, since Syracuse lost last week, there are no top 25 matchups against each other. And Stanford. Stanford and UCF play at 3:30. That could have been a top 25 matchup, but Stanford had to lose to, I think it was USC. They got destroyed.
Stanford's got the national champs.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, not you too.
That was total sarcasm.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah,
good.
not sorry, Halliburton. I don't believe it.
Ohio State continues their terrible schedule against Indiana, but they got to play Indiana there in the Big Ten with them. Pittsburgh at Penn State is another 12 o'clock game. Watch out for Chattanooga. They might beat Tennessee this week. What do you think? Chattanooga's always a good 1AA school.
I do a pick. I do a pick, a SEC pick 'em on side. They do it every week. I picked Tennessee in this one. I've picked them every game so far this year. They're going to prove me right eventually at some point.
The 3:30 games. Alabama travels to South Carolina. That should be a massacre.
Yeah, and
the last time they went to South Carolina, was it 2010? They lost.
Yeah, it was 2010, and Saban said that was the best team he'd ever had. It lost to that South Carolina team, but we wouldn't even be talking about this game if Kirk Herbstreit hadn't been blowing it up on Twitter picking South Carolina. He's already announced he's going to pick South Carolina Saturday morning, so now everybody thinks South Carolina's got some kind of shot.
Without their quartard, starting quarterback.
Yeah, that's why he said he picked them, because they got the backup quarterback.
Now you got me on the being sarcastic with UCF playing Stanford. Like I said, folks, not a whole lot of options for Division I football. Florida plays Kentucky. That's the ESPN game. 7:30 ball game. Clemson at Syracuse. That might be okay.
No.
But really, besides that, Oklahoma plays UCLA on Fox.
No, yeah, not a game either. Jalen Hurts will have 600 yards passing.
So I'm not even going to read any more games off. They're not even worth it. That's why you should listen to Clay, Mitch, and Andy on Saturday. And watch the game if they have a live stream with Limestone and West Georgia. West Georgia looking to go 2-0 and get home for their first home game next Saturday against Albany State.
All I know is they're flying. I'm driving.
You and Lindsay will have fun.
That tells you where I'm at on the pecking order.
That's okay. You and Lindsay will have a nice time.
I gotta get a fishing tournament started Saturday morning, so I gotta get up at 3:30.
Oh.
And then get that going.
Where's the fishing tournament at?
At West Point, but I still got to get up at 3:30.
Oh, man.
But I'm going to let her drive while I sleep.
That's a good wife. Lindsay, congrats. You're a great wife.
Well, why would you congratulate her? You should be congratulating me.
Well, you're lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess I need to congratulate you on getting lucky.
Yeah. Well, she's a good driver. I wouldn't sleep with just anybody driving. I promise you that.
Anywho, we're wrapping up here on the Team SMI starting lineup show on KISS 102.7 and our Graddick Sports Facebook page. Clay, any final words for the folks?
This is if you like going doing other things not involving football, this may be a good weekend to go, like fishing or hunting. Deer season starts Saturday. But if you're like me, you're going to be at a football game somewhere because that's just what we do.
Yep.
No real marquee games this week, but football's football, and I will watch it no matter who's playing.
Yeah. Doesn't matter if it's Canadian football or U.S. football. It doesn't matter.
Arena football.
And you also watch the Braves. They'll be back in action, I'm sure, sometime this weekend, going for and vying for a playoff spot, hopefully clinching the division sooner rather than later. But for Clay Harden and for myself, looking forward to tomorrow night. Going to be a lot of fun. We'll be up at the MAC in Villa Rica, Carrollton and Villa Rica on B92 Country. Kiss 102.7 has Rock Martin Heard County. On Great Classics 98.9, it's Bremen at Cedartown at Bremen, and then finally on 93.7, it's Mount Zion hosting Temple. Guys, don't forget, we go live at 5, the Agri-America Farm and Construction Tailgate Show. Coach's Clinic begins at 6:30, and Clay and all the crews will take over about 7:10 or so we're looking forward to that. For Joel behind the camera, for David back in the studio, I'm Matt Skinner saying do your best and let God do the rest. Have a great one on the Team SMI Starting Lineup Show.
Thanks for listening to the Team SMI Starting